results are in. Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, April 27th. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Rochelle Metzger. Glad to have you with us tonight. Well, Maryland's primary is over, and in one of the most contentious races of this election, Representative Chris Van Hollen beat out Congresswoman Donna Edwards for the Democratic U.S. Senate nomination. The contest for the seat being vacated by senior Senator Barbara Mikulski exposed cracks in the party coalition over race, gender, and class. CTV's Karen Adams has more.
Thank you, Maryland Democrats.
Victory for Representative Chris Van Hollen came early in the evening as the monitor at his election night event at the Bethesda Marriott showed him as the projected winner.
The early voting was good, and I'm glad he wins. I think he's the right person to replace Barbara Mikulski.
Earlier at Representative Donna Edwards' election party at IBU Local 26 in Lanham, the mood was positive.
I have nothing bad to say about Chris Van Hollen. I've just always been felt that Donna, I come from a union background, that Donna's been always there first, and Donna's kind of, as we say, gets it.
Everyone that I talked to seemed to be for Donna.
In the end, Edwards conceded.
Just a short bit ago, I called my opponent, Mr. Chris Van Hollen, Congressman Van Hollen, to congratulate him on his win tonight.
Maryland's Board of Elections shows people turning out big for Edwards in Baltimore City and Prince George's, beating out Van Hollen in both areas. This woman certainly gave her vote to Edwards.
I feel like she's for the people. She's a single mom. I'm a single mom. She can really relate to the community.
Now with this primary in the past, Van Hollen is ready to move forward with Edwards to help take back control over Congress and to put another Democrat in the White House.
Together, we're going to go forth from this evening and win the general election. And we're going to be part of a new Democratic majority in the United States Senate.
Van Hollen now goes on to face Republican State Delegate Kathy Szeliga for the Senate seat in November.
Another big race decided last night was for the 4th Congressional District, which covers Prince George's and portions of Anne Arundel counties. 6 Democrats and 4 Republicans lined up to succeed Donna Edwards. As Byron Scott reports, for one candidate, it's deja vu all over again.
You have information on Jacob.
I'll take whatever you want to give. I'm Jocelyn Pena-Melnick.
As voters headed to the polls yesterday, the leading contenders for the 4th Congressional District made a last-minute pitch.
I'm excited. We are working. We have a lot of energy.
We'll see what the voters decide.
Nervous?
No.
I'm glad to see the voters are coming out. It's been a beautiful day for that.
Lines were long at polling locations.
Glenn Ivy has really fought.
But at around 10:30 last night, the crowd began to thin at Glenn Ivy's campaign gathering in Hyattsville. The results showed him trailing Brown. And about a half hour later, it was Anthony Brown, surrounded by supporters at a local restaurant, who got the victory call. It put him back in the game.
That's it. That's it.
We knew that this was going to be about us with each and every one of you, our volunteers, our supporters, and tonight, the voters of the 4th Congressional District.
With more than 107,000 votes cast, Brown won 42% of the vote. Former State's Attorney Glenn Ivy came in second with 34%, and Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick finished a distant third with 19%.
And we love each and every one of you because you stayed with us. And because you understand the lesson that my dad taught me and that we try to teach our children. And that sometimes in life, you've got successes, and sometimes you have setbacks. And you know what? Every so often, you're going to get knocked down. But if you believe in what you're doing, you pick yourself back up, you stay in the fight, and that's what you do.
For the former lieutenant governor, it was a much-needed victory following a stunning loss in the 2014 gubernatorial race, which many say was his to win. The same can be said of last night's victory. Democrats outnumber Republicans in the 4th Congressional District 4-1.
Listen, we got some work to do, okay, because this isn't over. We've got an election in November. I do want to take this opportunity, though, to first thank Glenn, who ran a spectacular campaign. Jocelyn, who run a fabulous campaign. And I also want to thank Warren and Matthew and Terrence for their willingness to step up on behalf of the families of 4th Congressional District. So let's give them a round of applause.
Bram will face Republican George McDermott in November. Byron Scott, CTV News.
Thank you for that, Byron. And the newly minted Democratic nominee took the time out to thank two very special people in his life. Anthony Brown thanked his wife, his mom, Lily, who says she called him daily while he was on the campaign trail to ask him when he'd be home for dinner. And he also hugged and kissed his wife, Carmen, for being there throughout the race.
I'm very, very happy. Anthony has worked so hard in this congressional race, and we kept saying, one voter at a time, one conversation at a time, and that's what he was willing to do, and it paid off tonight, so I am so very proud of him and the race that he ran.
I feel great, and I'm very proud of Anthony. I was always proud, but today it's one of my proudest days.
And in other election news, Hillary Clinton wins the state's Democratic presidential primary and Donald Trump is victorious on the Republican side. Both candidates won in every Maryland county, including Prince George's and Montgomery. In the 8th congressional district race, Jamie Raskin wins the Democratic nomination. The state senator and American University law professor beat 8 other candidates. He faces Republican Dan Cox in the November general election. In the Board of Education contest, Rahila Ahmed and Cheryl Landis get the highest number of votes for the District 5 seat, beating out longtime incumbent Gina Jacobs. And Edward Burrows gets nearly 60% of the vote in the District 8 school board race. Stephanie Hinton came in second with 25%. The top 2 candidates in each district will face off in the general election.
After major wins in last night's East Coast primaries, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are both looking forward to the general election later this year. Clinton defeated rival Bernie Sanders in Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, Trump beat out his opponents in those states as well as Rhode Island. In speeches following the primaries, Trump continued to criticize his opponents, and Clinton signaled that she would work to win over Sanders supporters. The frontrunners have also started to take aim at each other. We spoke with a political science professor at Bowie State University about how he thinks this whole thing is going to shape up moving forward.
And I think by the time we get to the intensity of the election in November, we'll begin to see major differences between these two frontrunners in the area of immigration, women's issues, equal pay for equal work. You will see in foreign policies.
The general election is November 8th. Well, you are watching CTV News. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Rochelle Metzger.